Big focus on the cost transformation side. We're focusing on the finance, complete back office transformation through robotics and machine learning and AI. So big focus on that side. And then lastly, HR. So HR, complete transformation of how we engage with the employees through chatbots and voice-enabled devices. So update the system, know what you want to know. So lot of key things. Digital disruption is we are reacting to given the disruption which is happening in the industry. So Alan, tell us a bit about how you're thinking about digital disruption and applying digital technologies at TI, and what are you guys focusing on?
Yeah, so all of the things that you mentioned about this digital disruption, I just could say ditto to. Whether it's consumer behavior changing, right? We have consumers, design engineers that buy our products, but they're consumers first, and they want the same experience they get on your website or at Amazon at TI. So we're looking ahead, and what does that mean for a semiconductor company, and how can we engage with them? All the activities that you're talking about, we're in the middle of an HR big change in how we do HR, and so we're continuing to look at all of those things. So I could just say ditto to many of the things that he's talked about. From a technology trend, you hear the words artificial intelligence, you hear RPA, you hear blockchain, big data analytics, and the answer is yes. We are looking at every one of those and using many of them. When we think about artificial intelligence at TI, we've been doing machine learning for years and years and years across all of our high-end equipment throughout our factories, and as well both in the front ends, our most automated factories, as well as our assembly test sites. We look at signals on machines, we look at small signals, we try to do predictive analytics if something's about to break, so we need to fix it before we have a scrap event. It's a long process to manufacture a semiconductor. It's many weeks. And so when you think about what consumers expect, they expect lead times of very short lead times. They've forgotten to place orders. We're looking at demand signals on how to predict that they need an order before they've even entered one. So there's lots of IT enablement throughout that. When we have factories in our front ends are highly automated. They have been for years. Doing wafer processing and doing photolithography on our wafers. But to move those wafers, and they're 300 millimeters, so they're very large, here in our fab that some of you may know about. And you have 25 wafers in an overall carriage, and it's about 50 pounds to pick that up. So you can't have people doing that. And so we have overhead delivery systems that we use and it's robotics in the factory that our semiconductors enable, but that we in IT help program to make sure our factories are running smoothly. Fast forward to where we're headed in the assembly test sites, we're working to automate those even more and more. The form factor of our semiconductors are getting smaller and smaller. So what do we do about that? And how can we make a difference to help automate those in IT? So these are some of the ways that we feel like we're impacting the business. Besides the things that you're saying, from a standpoint of data analytics, yes, we're looking at different platforms, different technology, different ways to tune the data, serve it up, give it to our end customers, meaning inside TI, to make a difference in their lives and what they do every day. And the one that we're in watch mode on is blockchain, which is we're trying to figure out where this will work for us, or if it will. But we first look at, is there something broken that we need to fix, and would we fix it with blockchain? And the second is, can it scale? Can it do what we want it to do? And so we're in, maybe many of you all are in the same kind of journey around that. But we're trying to use all the key technology today, and blockchain is really large.
Okay. So give you a little bit more color on our side as to what we're focusing on. We internally call it like 14 digital enablers. And all of the things you would have heard, blockchain, AI, robotics, automation, agile, product teams, all of that. I mean, but the ones which we are truly focused is we're pivoting in a big way to cloud. So big focus on cloud, big focus on everything. The user experience is very key. So we're defining cloud of even either on the customer side, consumer side, external personas, internal personas, look at the consumer journeys or customer journeys, and then really designing platforms and solutions for the future, which is the experience is key, the embedded analytics is key, the overall experience, very intuitive to the way people work, is very important for us. And also new form of engagement, so whether it's chatbot, and leveraging a lot of the AI technology, machine learning. So within our robotics use cases, we started out first with the core in our GBS, which is finance side, global business processes, global business services, where we run a lot of our back-end processes. So we brought in a lot of robotics early on which is just rule-based scripting, but then we focus more on the machine learning. That's where we are now focusing on, is machine learning and more embedding cognitive into the decision making. Big focus this year we made on agile transformation, and now moving more to product teams and how do we organize ourselves differently. So other big thing I think which is we have spent time talking about is the big talent transformation, because there is a big, let's call it the war on talent. I mean, there is just, you can't find good enough product owners, and so we leverage a lot of we introduced this concept of global digital technology centers, and really distributing, we are going where the talent is. So for our security talent, we're actually going to Israel and opening a center there. For a lot of the digital talent, we're opening a center in Bangalore. For a lot of on the EMEA side, we are actually going to Poland and building this concept called region for region, because our business is so distributed. So we have the ability to hire talent across the globe and yet be delivering for that region, right? So that's why we have talent in Latin America, in North America, in EMEA, and in APAC, and build one or two digital centers across the globe to enable and build the talent there. Big pivot on internal re-talenting our existing team members, so big focus there. So we're building a digital university in terms of doing the competency assessment, redefining roles, complete title change, job description, we are rewriting, complete big talent, repivoting to digital. And then also, as we are acquiring new talent, big focus on digital as well. And the talent is bringing the right set of skills, the new ways of working, bringing in the transformative thinking around how do you work in pods and in product teams. So that's been so big focus on talent, because that's the only way we're going to be able to deliver that. So Alan, tell us a bit about what you're doing on talent and how you're dealing with those talents.
So we have certainly overall at TI a talent strategy that we've had for years around trying to get the best talent, the best engineers inside our company. And when I got into IT about 4 years ago, I realized that our trend had been to hire for attrition once it happened, versus trying to hire ahead of attrition so that we can continue to enable that growth and the projects that we were delivering. So we have started a really strong new college hiring program inside IT, and we've heavied up on that because we also looked at the workforce that was maturing, and we were looking at potentially some significant retirements within my overall staff. And so we've been really working hard to bring new college grads in and bring the best and the brightest in. And one way that we've been able to start to really recruit for the best and brightest new college grads is we implemented a rotational program within IT. So every new college grad that comes into IT, for whatever university, whether they have a master's or undergrad, they go through a 3-year rotation program within our organization. It's really exciting to see. The bigger challenge that we have is that we're equipping them to be taken away pretty quickly. So after that 3-year rotation, there are probably companies in here that are taking my IT people away. And so we're trying to figure out how do we retain them in the best way possible as well. We've got this vital group of people that are at TI, technologists in IT, that we want to continue to skill and change the way that they work and make sure we provide them the right kind of talent development, leadership, management, technology skills, all of those kinds of things. So we've got a big talent development focus on that vital group of people that we've had that are experienced, that have been in our company for a long time, on how do we reskill them. And then the last thing that we're doing is really trying to build a leadership bench, whether it's technology leadership or management leadership. So we have some really strong programs to continue to build that bench of leaders. And so we layer all of that in order to really transform the talent within IT. And I can tell you the projects that we're working on and the things that we're doing to disrupt or help our business disrupt the environment, we've got to have the right kind of skills and people to do that. And so I'm really excited about where we've headed in talent. It's not new for TI because in many of the other organizations at TI, they've been doing this for quite some time. What's exciting about UTD and some of our local universities here is that you're in our own backyard and you know what we do. And so we can really utilize the talent of individuals that we see here. We want people that want to stay in Dallas if we recruited them for Dallas. Now we've got other recruiting programs and we've got a big center of excellence in the Philippines and a big center of excellence in India, and we can get strong talent there too. So it's really exciting to see that we are really making a difference, and the new talent that's coming in, whether they're experienced or new college grads, they're really raising the bar for the whole organization, and we find that energy just really being exciting when we think about talent transformation inside IT.
Excellent, excellent. And so tell us, I mean, the security is now really becoming the big thing, right? So data privacy, data sovereignty, there's regulations coming every day. And then obviously, just how do you protect your IP and how do you protect TI in general? So tell us a bit about security and how you're dealing with that.
Yeah, so security or data privacy, so two different things, but it's all about looking at the risk in our environment and making sure that we're compliant. Of course, many of you know we have the European Global Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. I may have gotten some of those acronyms wrong, but it's really about protecting privacy for people in Europe. And so many of us had to, because we're global companies, had to figure out what that looks like in our environment. So we assembled a team, both here and in Europe, to look at the regulation and make sure we're compliant. We certainly are, because there were hefty fines if we're not. And but what we see is that this is the most comprehensive framework around data privacy and protection that we've seen. And so we believe that other countries, states, may follow suit and try to do the same thing. So when we leveled our playing field around what we were doing and making sure we're compliant, we made sure that would scale to whether other countries go hand in hand with this or other states go this way, that we can be able to make sure that we're compliant with it. From a security standpoint, our biggest threat, like you mentioned, is intellectual property and what's going to happen and how do we protect our crown jewels, what our designers and engineers have worked so hard to do, protect that from the bad guys. And so when we think about it, we look at the risk and we try to do, as you all know, three things. We can't protect everything equally. We work to protect, but there are many times that we can't do everything, so we have to figure out how do we detect it quickly and how do we respond to that. So we have a really interesting security model that we've been working on. We grade ourselves, we do penetration tests, all the things that you all are doing, and we continue to mature on our overall security roadmap. And it's interesting on how we have to try to get that from a business standpoint, for them to care, for them to see that we've got to continue to do this, because we have to continue to build that foundation of security and really correct by construction, making sure we're secure when we start to do something. So it's really exciting. Things change so rapidly, so we have to be flexible and act quickly, and I think that we're working really hard to do that. What about you? What kind of things do you see in privacy and security?
Yeah. So being a consumer product goods company, and the way I was telling you earlier about how we market our products and how we are, building brand affinity with our consumers. So a lot of our consumers are coming online right now, and obviously we have a direct-to-consumer business, so we have consumer identities across the board. So in obviously GDPR was a big wake-up call for us. We've been working on that for I would say the last 18 months, given the large exposure we had. So big focus in EMEA. But that's not the only place. I think California just recently announced their regulations on data privacy. We have Russia was a challenge, Korea, China is completely revamping their security standards, and the word is that it's going to be bigger than what Europe's GDPR is. So we are also dealing with data sovereignty issues. From an overall enterprise security perspective, big. You would think that TI has got all the IP, and think if you're a diaper company, what kind of IP, or a paper company, how much IP can you have? But we get hacked all the time, or attempts to. So we have a very strong security, multi-layered security team, which are proactively working in protecting KC. The big focus is right now on mill security, so operational technology, and I'm sure you were very similar. So all the assets which have been in the mills. So how do we protect them? Because that becomes a conduit into. We are also separating our IT and OT layers, so that's a big focus for us. In general, between data privacy, third-party risk. Cyber itself, right? How do you make sure threat protection, and what are you exposed to, and vulnerability testing, penetration testing, which you spoke about earlier. In every aspect of whether it's a mobile device, in every aspect of what we do, security is a big deal. And just something we believe we can never invest. Every year we feel like we have a 20, 30, 40% increase in our security and security cost, and it's non-stop for the last 3-4 years. So I think something we always feel challenged about is. But we're always doing innovative work in that space.
Okay, I think that we've answered that as well. But one last question before we turn it over to you all for questions is, as we think about where we've come in IT and for companies such as Kimberly-Clark and Texas Instruments, are there any ways that you find the most effective to be a great business partner and understanding what the business is working on so you can contribute in the highest possible way?
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I think the way gone are the days when you could act like traditional IT, right? I would say that the IT is the business today, and if you don't think like that, we shouldn't have a right to be in IT today, given all the disruption in every facet of our business. So just to share with you guys, historically we didn't have that big of a board engagement. This year we are planning to, we went to our board in June, and we're again going to our board in December, talking about digital transformation. So there is a big focus. Every aspect of our business runs on IT. So we actually, is a big change of culture where we're saying you cannot be partnering with an order-taking mindset. So you've got to have to co-create the future together. So that's a big, the business partnering lens itself is changing. The homework we do in IT is changing very differently. You go prepared, very well prepared. You're leading the discussion as opposed to you are being told what to do. So the other big change I would say is how do you apply a lot of bringing in the technology mindset and use cases and fail fast mindset, right? You cannot be building these long cycle time projects, and by the time if you deliver a project in 6 months to 9 months to a year, the problem statement would have changed. So very different way of partnering. The attitude and the mindset is very different. And also the ability to, we have this process called fast track, which is where normally we all of us have annual cycles of things we would work in, but we also have ways you can accelerate. The business can raise and say, okay, I want to be part of a fast track process. How we're innovating is different. So, so that's some of the things how we're thinking. How about you guys? Are you guys?
It's very, very similar. All the things that you mentioned we're involved in, whether it's with the board or whether it's with driving the business, having that seat at the table, making a difference. I would say the key thing in my mind is building business acumen, and I talk to the team about that all the time. How much do you know about the project you're working on? What's the business case? What problem are they trying to solve? Ask that every time. I think it's also our obligation and our duty to translate back to the business information about IT. And it needs to be in a consumable way that they'll understand. So sometimes I call IT, I talked about it at this event that I was at just the other day. I think we're not just CIOs, we're also chief translation officers. I think we have to be chief transparency officers. And part of it, I think we also have to be the chief tough love officer, because sometimes we have to say no, and sometimes we have to make some decisions that the business isn't going to like. And so I just think we've got to think that you've got the true chief technology officer title, but when we think about what IT has to bring, I think it's all of those things. So now I'll turn it over to Brad, and he will kick off the Q&A for the audience.
Thank you, Ellen. Everyone, please join me in thanking. As we transition into the audience Q&A, there's a few key things I heard through the entire chat.